Good afternoon, everybody. How are we? It's Tuesday. It is Turbo Tuesday. That's because I didn't have time to print out the graphic. But yeah, it's Turbo Tuesday, and this is the second live mini masterclass that I have done. Last week's was all about social media. Today's is all about suppliers and managing your suppliers. How to find new ones, when is the right time to ditch your suppliers, what do you need to know about them, and working with them. Because in our retail businesses, they are a real big part of our cost centres. They are the companies that we spend the most money with. Our businesses rely on having a good supply base, whether that is for finished product or for components. But yeah, suppliers are super important in our business, in any business really. And we have suppliers in the form of products, raw materials and components, and screws, nuts, bolts, paper, stickers, packaging. We have a supplier of Wi-Fi, tea and coffee, cleaning materials, depending on what your business is, cosmetics and beauty treatments if you're a spa or a salon. And we've got suppliers of things like training and knowledge. And, I am a supplier of business service to a lot of retailers for consultancy and training. So we have, in our business, you'd be very surprised as to how many suppliers you do actually have. And they are really, if you look at our budget, that is where most of our money will go. So it's really important to know how to manage suppliers, how to get the best out of them, how to work with them, what to expect from them. Because if we don't, they can very easily win one over on us. They can be sort of non-competitive, and we don't realise. They could be supplying our biggest rival, and we don't like it. But so it's important to to keep an eye on our suppliers and to know what they are doing, and equally for them to know about our business. So if you're watching this live, say hello, and any questions just ask me as I go along. If you're watching on replay, again, tag any comments into the any questions into the comment thread, and I will pop back in and answer them. And I'll put this up on YouTube as well, so everyone can watch it as a recording. So I've explained who our suppliers are. In most businesses, you will have at least a handful of suppliers, and as I say, they are the lifeline to a retail business. If we don't get the right suppliers, we don't get the right products. If we don't work with the right suppliers, and they don't give us the right prices, then that can be a problem as well. And our key objective is to buy as direct as possible. So if we can't afford to buy direct from a manufacturer, then that is the ultimate name of the game. And when I have worked in big corporate retailers, that has always been my ethos. It's to cut out as many people in the supply chain as possible and buy as direct as I can. So, which is why I spent an awful lot of time in China buying direct from manufacturers. Importers, agents, some wholesalers were cut out of the equation, because for every layer there is in the supply chain, there is a level of profit, of margin that someone is building in. It's not to say that there isn't room for everybody, for every single type of supplier. Depending on what volumes that you do, you may be buying from a wholesaler, but it's important to recognise that if your volumes become larger, or you're placing large orders on a regular basis, then it's important to review your supply base and either renegotiate with your supplier or try and move up to the next level of supplier as direct up the chain as you can to the manufacturer. So that is key point number one. We've got a lot of very small businesses in here, and you could be buying from wholesalers, you could be buying from cash and carries. That's absolutely fine if that works for you, but as your business grows, you need to be mindful that you need to be moving further up the supply chain. So what do we want from a good supplier? We want, first and foremost, we want a supplier that understands our business. When I was a buyer, if anybody came to see me to sell me any products, the first thing I would ask them was, had they been into one of our stores? Now, when you work for a retailer who has 200-300 stores, a supplier has no excuse whatsoever for not visiting a store. If they said they hadn't, or I could tell that they hadn't, then they were out the door. As a small business, what we would expect our suppliers to do is to do some research, is to have a look on our website, a little bit of research on Google, found out about us and what our business is before they walk through the door and, you know, open a suitcase and try and sell us their stuff. If the supplier understands your business, it means they have your they understand your customer, they understand your product ranges, and they are offering you the best product that they believe they can offer you, and they want the product to sell. And that's a sign of a good supplier, is that they sell you something that they believe that you will be able to sell in your business and to your customers. And what we don't want are suppliers who sell you anything and run away, because you'll never go back to them again. You won't be placing any repeat orders, and it will just be a waste of everyone's time and money. So that is the first thing, is that you should be expecting your supplier to have done some research. We also need a supplier who's very supportive, who understands that we are a small business and that we are growing, and that, you know, we have plans for expansion. And talking to your supplier about this can really help, because it helps them to understand what level you are at your business, offer you any other kind of support, any training. And also, a lot of suppliers will be a little bit more lenient in terms of payment terms and minimum order quantities if they understand what your circumstances are. What we don't want from our suppliers are what I call suppliers who like to have their cake and eat it. So these are suppliers who supply to independents, but then they also have their own retail arm on their own website. So they're supplying wholesale, but they're also supplying direct to consumer, which is fine, which is all well and good. Or they may be supplying, you know, they may be selling through Amazon, and that is okay. But what we don't want them to be doing is to be putting on promotions that essentially will undercut all of their stockists. And it really, really is one of my big bugbears, and I hate it when suppliers do this. And I always grab screenshots, and I will be the first to send them a stern email to tell them, because it really is greed, and it means that they are trying to supply to you and also to supply to potentially your customers. And by undercutting you, all they're doing is really annoying you. They just turn it into a price war. So what we want are suppliers who inform you if they're going to have a promotion, or alternatively, they support you if you want to do your promotion. So that is something to look out for. If you are dealing with any suppliers and they've also got their own retail on, then keep an eye on what they are doing on their own retail website. And lastly, we want a supplier who shares our values. So if you are a craft business and you really, you know, are very interested in ethically sourced products, in environmentally friendly products, then it's important for you to get suppliers who have the same beliefs and they produce the same types of products and raw materials. So it's important that you do marry up with a supplier who does believe in the same things as you, and is working to the same kind of causes as you are. So, and that is when a supplier and a retailer becomes a little bit more niche. And there are lots out there. There's lots and lots of suppliers who are very eco-friendly, and that's what they specialize in. And they are the suppliers that you want to be dealing with, because they understand your business, they understand the market and the niche, and they will be experts in everything to do with that product. They will be experts in supply chain and ethical sourcing policies, and modern slavery and traceability and all that kind of stuff. So we want a supplier who does share the same kind of interests and beliefs and values as us. So that is everything that really makes up a really good supplier. It sounds quite easy, right? Yeah. We expect all of our suppliers to fit into, onto this tick box. And don't get me wrong, there are some amazing suppliers out there who are super, super supportive, that have worked with, customers for a very long time. But equally, there are suppliers, large and small, who don't have a lot of loyalty. They are just happy to supply you and then disappear. And they don't support you in any way, and those are the ones that we need to watch out for. But we have to remember as well, often as we are a small business, we think, oh, I can't contact them, they won't deal with me, I'm only a small business. But suppliers are essentially retail as well, because they are selling to us, and they are in the business to make money, so they need us as much as we need them. They may be supplying to Tesco, they may be supplying to John Lewis, and believe me, having worked for some of the big organisations, it's not all roses and rainbows when those suppliers supply a big retailer. Big retailers can be very demanding, particularly the grocers. They can really, really screw suppliers down. They want contributions for extra space in store. They want contributions to promotion. They want contributions to markdown. So all is not what it seems. Sometimes suppliers want to deal with these big retailers just to get their volumes up, so that essentially drives the cost prices down, because they put in more volume through their production lines or through their factories or whatever. But a lot of them will like those big orders, but essentially they want the small orders as well, because that helps them connect with the consumer, it helps them to understand the market, and a lot of them prefer to deal with small retailers. So always remember that they do need us as much as we need them. So don't be afraid to contact them, don't be afraid to approach them and ask them, will they supply you? So finding suppliers can be difficult. Where do we find them? Well, it's word of mouth, it is trade magazines, and my favourite one is trade shows. So walking the halls of trade shows, I've done trade shows all over the world, walked miles and miles and miles, and a boss at one of my jobs, if we'd finished a haul and we still had some time left, he made us walk it the opposite way. So yes, we did. Sometimes we did the same haul twice. But yeah, trade shows are really, really exciting places to visit. It's important that you go with a plan. It's important that you go with a strategy and a list of what you want to source and who you want to connect with. I've got a great freebie on my website, which is my top tips for trade shows, which gives you my 20 odd years of tips and hints and how to put together a bit of a strategy when you are going to a trade show to look for some new suppliers. So trade shows are my favourite place to find suppliers, and often I will go to a trade show not only to look for a new supplier, but also to visit my existing suppliers as well, to say hello to them. So that's what we expect from suppliers. That's how we can find them, and working with them on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. It's really, really important to talk to them. It's much easier if you have a rep or if you have a dedicated account manager person at the end of the phone, because they are the person that will get to understand your business, and you can build up a relationship with them. If they come and see you and you've got your own shop, that is even better. You want to build up that relationship so that they do know your business and they do have your business at heart. If you don't, it can become difficult. What I would say is communicate with whoever you can. Try to, there will be a sales team, and try to get the name of the person and try to phone them back whenever you've got a problem. Speak to them specifically, so that you are trying to build up that rapport and that relationship with that supplier. If you are encountering any difficulties with cash flow or with stock, then the first thing I would recommend that you do is to pick up the phone to that supplier and explain the situation. Don't hide away from them. It's better to be honest up front. If you need extended credit terms, ask them, explain what your current position, and a lot of the really good suppliers will be understanding, and they will try and do their best for you, because what they don't want to see is for you to fail, is for you to go under and end up owing the money. What they want to do is to see you through thrive and to be back again in a few months' time to place another order. So that's all the good stuff about suppliers. What about the bad stuff? What about suppliers that, you know, don't do what we want them to do? They don't support us. When is it okay to ditch a supplier? Well, when you have had consistently had problems with deliveries, with late deliveries, with part deliveries, with damages, and they took ages to issue with credit notes or refunds, they've got high MOQs, they don't do any product development, and you know, sick of looking at the same stuff or the same catalogue, despite saying to them, we could move this on, we want this in different colours. If you've got a supplier like that, then it's absolutely time to ditch them. And what I would do is start the sourcing process before you've got rid of the supplier, because you don't want to chop your nose off to spite your face, but start that process as soon as you can. And your homework following this video is to have a little look at your supplier base. How many suppliers have you got? If you've got an awful lot of suppliers, then rather than overwhelming you with a huge task of looking at every single supplier, what I would challenge you with is to look at maybe the top 5 suppliers and have a look at your payment terms, have a look at your discount structure, have a look at the service that you're receiving from them. And if all that information tells you that that supplier is absolutely brilliant for you, then great. I would send them an email to say you've been doing some analysis and you just want to let them know that you do really appreciate everything they do. You love working with them. If your research shows that it's time to have words, then do that. If you haven't had a contract review for a long time, if you are still on a massive MOQ despite placing quite a considerable amount of business with them, again, it's time to speak to them, raise those issues, see if you can get any better deals out of them, and if not, then go to plan B, which is look for another supplier. But don't let them take you for granted. Don't let them become complacent with you, because they will. They have 50, 100 other accounts like you, and unless you speak up and raise it to them, they will just carry on ticking over with the business. So it's really, really important to keep on at your suppliers, keep challenging them, keep asking them for more discount, for better terms, and asking them to keep giving you the best products. So that is my take on suppliers. They are super important. I actually delivered a full masterclass in my VIP club, which was this very topic, and that was about 1 hour and 10 minutes long. So there was plenty to say about our suppliers, but this in a nutshell is a little overview of how important our suppliers are and how important it is to have a good working relationship with them. Do that homework, have a little review, let me know how you get on, and if you've got any success stories from talking to your suppliers or renegotiating or finding somebody new, then let me know. I'd love to hear about it and see what the impact is on your business. Have a great day, everybody. I am Vicky Powell, the Retail Business Queen. You can catch me on Facebook or my website, which is www.rbqconsultancy.co.uk, and catch me on Facebook. I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.